What's going on, guys? You know the deal. It's week 10 of the NFL season. We're about to do another lineup on Draftkings. It's me, Cody Marchant from hidandseek.com. We're going to go right into this one here, guys. As always, we got our NFL DFS value picks over on hidandseek.com, where I break down all my favorite picks. I give you guys projections. I give you guys full lineups, even if you want. Right at the bottom, I give you my lineup. I give you how many points my guys are going to score based on my projections. Guys, I'm trying to go all out for you right here, so give it some love. You want to look at the article from last week, DFS Value Picks Week 9, right on the money with Pat Mahomes. Got his touchdowns correct, his interceptions correct, his completions correct. Last week we were pretty on the money. I just put out a recap of our lineups from last week. That's up on YouTube already. You can give that one a look, see how we did, see where we could improve, and hopefully we're going to improve on this lineup right here. So on this lineup, we got 11 games on the slate. We got we got the Saints playing in Cincy. We got the Falcons playing the Browns. We got the Jags and the Colts, the Lions and the Bears. We got the Cardinals, the Chiefs, the Patriots versus the Titans. We got the Redskins and Bucks. The snooze fest of Buffalo versus the Jets. Got the Chargers in Oakland, Miami and Green Bay, and last but not least, we got Seattle at the Rams. So let's jump right into this, guys. I'm going to start right at quarterback position, and then we're going to drop down to defense, tight end, running back, then wide receiver to round out our team. We're going to see what we like. This is kind of a first look, but instead of what most people do at their first look, I kind of gave you some more research than most did. I already did my whole lineup for you guys, so my whole article. So I actually have some thought in this, so you guys can actually use some of these stats. You can use some of these picks because there's actually been some real time put into it. As always, there's going to be some changes throughout the week. People are going to get hurt. Some value is going to open up. But, guys, if you like these type of videos, please do me a favor and subscribe down below, and let's get right into it. We got the Chiefs on the main slate. Everybody loves that because our boy, Patty Mahomes, is in the building. The kid is just ridiculous. All he does is put up 30 points. And this week might be the first week I get Patrick Mahomes in my lineup, like I was talking about in my article. There's a lot of great value at quarterback this week as I go through it, but we're in kind of a weird week where there's no one at wide receiver that I want to pay up for. And tight end I want to pay down. Defense I want to pay down, and there's a lot of great running back value, so I was thinking that if I can get Patrick Mahomes in, walk in 30 points at home against a bad Arizona team, it wouldn't be a bad idea because it's Patrick Mahomes, guys. Look at him, 29 touchdowns, 2,900 yards. Kid is ridiculous. All he's done is thrown, 15 touchdowns in the last 4 games? He's a baller. I could talk about him all the time, but you got to get past him. You know what you're going to get. If you want to get 30 points, just pay up $7,200 at quarterback. It's pretty simple. Aaron Rodgers against Miami. I don't like the way Aaron Rodgers has been playing. $6,400 too expensive for me. Drew Brees versus the Saints. I kind of like it. Drew Brees versus the Saints. Drew Brees on the Saints versus the Bengals. Kind of a good matchup, but I really think that this is going to be one of those ground and pound type games. I think Mark Ingram has a big game. I think Kamara runs the ball a lot. I think the Saints, when they're on the road, they really want to establish a run game. So I think that Drew Brees at 6,300, even though he has been awesome, he was dominant last week, I'm going to probably stay away. I think it's going to be more one of these games, 16 to 20 point range. So I'm going to stay away there. Matt Ryan on the road against a tough Cleveland team when it comes to rushing the quarterback. Probably not going to play there. Jared Goff moving up from 6,000 to 6,100. They keep pricing the exact same as they always do. Had a great game. He was my quarterback last week. Had him everywhere. I had Jared Goff in all my lineups, and I had a sprinkle of Ryan Fitzpatrick. But it was mostly Jared Goff, probably 90% of my lineups. 33 points. He's actually been doing well the last 2 weeks, but these are against 2 better teams in Seattle. I don't think he's going to throw the ball over 30 times a game here. I think Jared Goff's fine if you want to go that route, but I think that there are better values at quarterback. Tom Brady at 6K. I like Tom Brady at 6K, but he hasn't been putting up crazy numbers. 15 points, 16 points, 22, 25. We don't know the status on Gronk. Sonny Michel might be coming back. We might be focused on more of a ground game. So I'm not sure that Tom Brady, even at 6K, is going to be in the lineup. What else do we like? Phillip Rivers. When I first did this, really quick to do my article, Phillip Rivers is who I plugged in. He's 6K playing against the Raiders, who are awful. We just saw what Nick Mullins did to them last week. And Phillip Rivers is not Nick Mullins. He's a stud. He's got Keenan Allen looking like he's back. Tyrell Williams going deep. Mike Williams catching those long balls too. Melvin Gordon's healthy. This is a sneaky 6-2 Chargers team that I think is one of the top 3, maybe top 4 teams in the AFC. I think people want to say that the Steelers are their best team in the AFC. I think it's the Chiefs, Patriots, and Chargers. I think the Chargers right now, if you put them on a neutral field right now against Pittsburgh, give me Phillip Rivers. I think they're going to destroy the Chargers against a team that's given up in the Raiders. There's not much else to say. I think that he doesn't throw picks this year, which is kind of good for Phillip Rivers because he's always kind of been that 30 touchdown, 18 interception type guy in his career. So this 19 touchdown, 3 interception year so far has been great. So he's taking care of the ball. Last time against Oakland, he had 24.3. Keenan Allen wasn't himself back then. He is now. So I can see another 24, 25-point game for 6K from Phillip Rivers, and I think that's a great place to go. Looking down the list, Andy Dalton's in a great spot at 5,800. Ryan Fitzpatrick's in a great spot. I think there's a lot of good options at quarterback this week. The last two that I want to talk about, okay, Josh Rosen, you can go there. 4,800, he's going to have to put up points against Kansas City, but I just don't trust Josh Rosen right now on a standalone game. I like to get 3 touchdowns on my quarterback. Josh Rosen could do it, but will he do it? That's a great question. That remains to be seen. How many times has he done that in his NFL career? 0. So, you can just do better. That's kind of where I'm at with that, is you can do better than Josh Rosen. And the better than Josh Rosen that I want to go with this week is my guy Andrew Luck. I just tweeted out a stat. In his last 5 games, look at this. His last 5 games, he's averaging 3.6 touchdown passes, right? His offensive line is playing the best it's ever played in his entire career. And he has a healthy T.Y. back, healthy Jack Doyle back, Eric Ebron's still there, the running game's going. Jaguars, I get it. You want to be afraid to play against Jacksonville and that crazy defense, but they've been kind of susceptible this year. They haven't been playing with that same mean streak. A.J. Bouye might miss again this week. They just traded one of their best pass rushers in Dante Fowler Jr. So Andrew Luck's at 5,500. He's thrown 23 touchdown passes in 8 games. It's just, 5,500, what does he need to hit for value? 17 points? You telling me he's not going to hit 20 points this week? Give me Andrew Luck to start this lineup. I think that this is a great place to start. I think the 2 quarterbacks I'm going to go with this week are going to be Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes, with maybe a little bit of Phillip Rivers spread in. So right now I'm going to go with the cheapest option, and we're going to lock in Andrew Luck. I'll take the 24 points per game that he's been putting out. Down at defense, there's a couple places I want to go. Let me just double check to make sure that... So these are the 4 places I want to go, right? I want to go Los Angeles, Kansas City, New York Jets, Chicago Bears, right? We got the number 1 and number 2 scoring defenses in the Bears and the Rams. 1,200 point difference, right? We got the Bears, what happened last week with the Lions? Matt Stafford was sacked 10 times. Khalil Mack might be coming back, playing at home against that Detroit Lions offensive line. That could be real bad. Chicago Bears at 3,600 could be a really good play. I don't like spending up at defense, but that's a good play. If you want to go the other direction really cheap, the Rams are still the second most highest scoring defense on this slate. And they just play at home against a team that has no real threat, right? Like Doug Baldwin's getting a couple targets. David Moore is whatever. They don't really have a tight end that's great. Chris Carson's hurt. There's no real guys that can really beat you. And the things that the Rams do the best is get after the quarterback with Aaron Donald. So at 2,400, I'll take a defense with Aaron Donald at home. You know what I mean? Unless it's against a really tough matchup like Drew Brees, I'll take this. This is probably where I'm going to go. But two more that I wanted to mention are the Chiefs at home against Josh Rosen, like we were talking about earlier, only thrown 2 touchdowns in his career one time. And the Jets at home, all I said was, is Nathan Peterman coming to town? Insert Jets into the lineup. And so that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm really picking, I like all 4 of those, but I'm probably picking between the Jets and the Rams. Let's just save all the money we can right now and start with the Rams. So we got Andrew Luck quarterback, Rams at defense. Let's go over to tight end. And this is a week where I'm not looking at Kelsey. At 7K, I don't think it's a spot where I'm going to have him. Last week I thought he was the only tight end I liked. That's where I was going to go. That's what I did. This week is a little bit different. I don't like Gronk as much this week, right? He's still at 5,600, but what has he done to earn it? 7, 12, 13, 8, 9. And he might not even be playing, guys. So Gronk is out of the question for me. O.J. Howard, finally where he belongs at 5,300. I've been playing him like crazy down here at 35, 36, 39, even 43. But at 5,300, I don't like spending up at tight end unless it's literally for Travis Kelce or Zach Ertz. So I love you, O.J. Howard, but not this week. No Jared Cook, no Jimmy Graham, no Jordan Reed. Jack Doyle's too expensive. I really want to focus on only 2 guys right now at tight end. First one's going to be David Njoku for Cleveland. I know that a lot of people are going to be off him because of the 0 against Pittsburgh. But the thing is, they're playing Atlanta, right? In Atlanta, where they're worst, is in the middle of the field. So having a guy like David Njoku, who that's really where he makes his money, is something that I'm really going to be attacking because, looking at him before that goose egg, 10, 13, 18, 15, another 5 targets last week. I get it. You're sour on David Njoku after the 0, and it kind of hurt. But the thing is, he's just such a free talent that against Atlanta, I want a lot of David Njoku. So at 4,200, he's my second favorite tight end this week. My favorite tight end is just like Andrew Luck, getting no love. Eric Ebron leads the NFL in touchdowns at that tight end position. 7 touchdowns in 8 games. Eric Ebron has been a baller. I understand that Jack Doyle's back and that's going to hurt him, but he has no less than 3 catches in any game this year. And he's at 3,500. You're telling me that I can get Eric Ebron, who's scored a touchdown in almost every game, for 3,500. I get it, it's Jacksonville. I get it, Jack Doyle's there. But the thing is, if anybody can handle 2 tight ends in their team, it's Andrew Luck because he loves the tight end. He's averaging 15 points a game. To pay off value, he needs 10 points. So I'm going to lock in Eric Ebron there at 3,500, and it really starts to open up a lot of value already with 6,500. So what I want to go to right now is my value running backs. I always come out with my video every week of my favorite running backs under 5K. And for this week, I want to show you a couple guys that I really like, right? Because we can go through each guy on the list, but I think that's kind of played out. Let me just tell you my guys that I like. You can ask me questions in the comment section. You can tweet me at HeinzZeke if you want to talk about specific players that I forgot. But right now, let's just focus on the people that we really like. And right now, when I say value, we're just going to talk about under 5K plays. The first one that pops out to me is obviously Duke Johnson. At 4,700, he has to go up against Atlanta, just like I was talking about. They have linebackers that can't tackle right now. They're the worst team in the NFL when it comes to pass-catching running backs. And he had 9 targets last week, caught all 9, 2 touchdowns, 78 yards. Duke Johnson's back. That's not a bad play at 4,700. I think it's going to be popular, though. My contrarian play right there at the same price is Jordan Howard at 4,700. Look, guys, he's getting the work, and we're looking for volume, right? This is going to be a cash game lineup, so we want to be a little bit safer. 14 and 22 carries over the last 2 games. It's 36 carries. Gone in the end zone 3 times. He's playing against Detroit, who has been gashed by Chris Carson 2 weeks ago. Dalvin Cook ripped off a long one. Even Latavius Murray ran well when he was in there last week. Detroit's just not stopping the run well. I think Chicago's going to be up pretty good in this game. And I think they're going to want to hand the ball to Jordan Howard a lot and chew up that clock. I think that he's going to get back in the end zone this week. Jordan Howard, I'm going to throw into my lineup right now because he's a stud. I think he's a really good value. I might take him out because there's one value that I like even more, and I don't know if it's like a gut play or the process play, because Mark Ingram at 4,500, right, I think he's a slam dunk this week, and I think a lot of people are going to be overlooking him. He's played in 4 games since his suspension, right? He's got 50 attempts, 12.5 carries a game. Last week we knew it wasn't going to be a really big Mark Ingram game because the Rams, they're really strong up front, right through the middle. That's kind of where Mark Ingram was going to play. That's why I was so high on Alvin Kamara. But this week, I think it's not so much a Mark Ingram game. I think it's just a running game. I think that the Saints are going to put the ball on the ground. Not put the ball. They're not going to fumble. They're going to run the ball on the ground about 35 times. And I think that Mark Ingram is going to have close to 16 carries. And I think Cincinnati's pretty weak against the running back, right? Where do they rank in the league? You know, the bottom 10 teams in the league, bottom 9 teams in the league. I think Mark Ingram has a great game at 4,500. So I think he actually even has a better game than Jordan Howard. So let me save 200 and put Mark Ingram in instead. Let's scroll down here, guys. Sorry about that. So at 4,500, I like Mark Ingram a lot. Like I said, at 47, I like both Duke and Jordan Howard. But Mark Ingram's kind of a stud there, a little bit cheaper. And the last guy I really wanted to talk about at 3,700. 3,700 is my boy Ito Smith. Ito coming off a 10-carry, 60-yard, and a touchdown game last week against the Redskins, who are a super tough defensive front team so far this season. You know, that was really impressive, and I think that, you know, they're going up to Cleveland, and like I wrote about in my article, Cleveland is doing a great job rushing the passer, so I think what they're going to want to do, especially on the road, is establish a run game. And I think that Ito is pretty close into, like, it might be like 55-45 right now with the split with Tevin Coleman. But I just like how Ito's running. If you watch the game, he runs with power, he runs decisive. And I think that he's going to have a career high in carries. I think this is going to be a 12 to 15 carry game for Ito, just game script wise, and what I think that Atlanta wants to do with the ball. So I love Ito at 3,700, guys. If you need any money, this is a great spot to go. So those are my favorite value guys under 5K. Some other guys that pop out a little bit above. Sonny Michel at 53 if he's playing. Nick Chubb still great at 55. AP I would love to smash in this lineup, but they just lost 3 of their best offensive linemen, with Scherf going down for the year. Trent Williams is still out with a thumb injury, and who else got hurt? Sean Lavelle to a season-ending injury. So I would love to play AP, but his offensive line is kind of banged up, so I'm probably not going to go there. Marlon Mack, guys. I understand it's Jacksonville, but I love Indy this week. They put up points. Marlon Mack's been killing it, 95 yards a game. This year, the Indianapolis Colts offensive line is allowing their running back to get 2.2 yards downfield before first contact. They are opening up huge holes. He's not even getting touched till 2.2, and that's the reason that he's had 7.4, 6.6, and 5.3 yards per carry over the last 3 weeks. You know, I think that if he stays in this 19 carry game range, he could have close to another 100 yards, maybe a catch or two, but we're really hoping for the volume and the touchdowns. At 6K, Marlon Mack's a sneaky good play. One other guy under 7K I want to talk about is David Johnson, right? I love playing people against the Chiefs. I love playing running backs against the Chiefs. And David Johnson is finally getting up in price, which we don't like because I don't think he's really warranted it. But in 8 games, he has 6 touchdowns. He is coming off a game where they changed offensive schemes, right? And he touched the ball 20 times. Didn't get in the end zone, but he had his best receiving yard game of the year. So I think that in a game where he really can't get game scripted out because even when they're down, he catches passes. I love David Johnson. I think at 6,800, that's a really good price. I think that I'm not going to be paying up a wide receiver, so I think I can go even better than that. But if you need to be in that 7K range, I like David Johnson a lot. Mixon, don't love the matchup. James White has been an absolute stud. I play him if you can, guys. 28, 25, 29. Play him if you can. You saw what even Zeke was catching the ball against Tennessee last week, and that's not really his game, but there were some big openings after the line of scrimmage. They got good linebackers, but they're kind of slow going side to side, so James White's in a good spot. Kamara, I'm going to stay away from. But my two favorite plays this week are probably Kareem Hunt and Melvin Gordon. Guys, Kareem Hunt, I tweeted about him yesterday, and I said that I think Kareem Hunt is officially my favorite running back in the league. I think he's going to be my favorite running back for a decade. Like, if you just watch how this guy plays, he's elusive. He's fast. He can hurdle people. He can catch the ball. He can run for power. He's on a good team. He's just doing so much with his work, right? Look at him. 5 yards a carry, 5.7, 8 yards. This is against Denver. But this is what we really like. 6 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets. He didn't really need him against Cleveland. Doesn't matter. He still took 150 yards to the house, guys. Like, he has 13 total touchdowns, 22 points a game. He's a workhorse on the best offense in the league. He's playing against Arizona, and what do they rank? Second to last in the NFL against running backs. 27, so they got a little bit better, but that's a slam dunk spot right there with Kareem Hunt. I want to plug him in, but can I get, because I need Melvin, yeah, I'm plugging in Kareem Hunt. It's too easy. Plugging in Kareem Hunt, and last but not least, I want to talk about Melvin Gordon versus Todd Gurley this week. There's only a $400 difference, and everybody says, like, you know, it's Todd Gurley. There's not really, like, a comparable, right? It's just Todd Gurley than everybody else. I highly disagree. I am a huge Melvin Gordon guy. Before the season started, I said that he will be the fantasy MVP of the league. And it's just because he scores touchdowns and he catches passes now. And his offensive line got better, adding Pouncey to that line. He comes back off injury, runs the ball 16 times for 113 yards and a touchdown against a tough Seattle team. And now he's playing against the Raiders that can't stop anyone. I just think that this is a home run spot. Last time I played, Melvin Gordon was also against Oakland, was probably his worst game. Look at this, 38, 34, 22. He's a stud. Melvin Gordon is such a stud, guys. Get him in your lineup. I'm putting Melvin Gordon in the flex. And that is because I don't see huge value at wide receiver this week. Just going over the top guys real quick. I'm not playing anyone over 7,000. Julio at 8,300. He's Julio. He's been doing great. Gone the end zone. Having a lot of 20-point plus games. Over 100 yards in 3 straight. And, he's been killing it. But that's not really where I want to go for this. Michael Thomas has been killing it. But like I said, I think it's going to be a ground and pound game. Devontae Adams is a stud, but I think Xavier Howard is also a stud. Boyd, I think that it actually hurts him not having A.J. Green, even though you do want to attack New Orleans in the slot. I just hope that Tyler Boyd isn't going to be moved outside with A.J. Green out, so that's something to keep an eye on. Tyreek Hill, I love Tyreek Hill at 7,300, but the thing is Patrick Peterson might be covering him, but I guess it doesn't matter. It's Tyreek Hill. His groin might be still hurting. He kind of had one of his worst games last week, only 12.5. So I'm staying away there, but I'm kind of, I'm even staying away from these top-end guys like Keenan Allen, who I think is in a good spot. Mike Evans all the way down to 7K. Edelman, I'm not really thrilled about the Rams this week. The first place I want to go, guys, for wide receiver is Josh Gordon. Coming off his best game of the year, 10 targets, 5 for 130 and a touchdown. And now he gets to face Malcolm Butler, guys. Did I tweet the stat? Did I write this in my article? Where's Josh Gordon? Josh Gordon. If Malcolm Butler ends up covering Josh Gordon, this might be a 200-yard day. Butler has allowed 39 catches for 618 yards and 7 touchdowns this season. All 3 of those stats are the highest in the league of any cornerback. To say he's a liability is an absolute understatement, guys. Josh Gordon could be in a blow-up spot. You saw what he did last week without Gronk there, without Sonny Michel. Josh Gordon, besides James White, I think is the number 1 option in this receiving game for Tom Brady. I think that he has a blow-up opportunity this week against Malcolm Butler. Amari Cooper looks good against him, so I'm gonna put Josh Gordon in there as my favorite high-end receiver, and that's not even that high-end at 6K. Other guys I like Ridley at 59. I love Larry Fitz at 54. Coming off one of his better games, like I said, I like playing against people. I like playing people against the Chiefs, and I think Fitzgerald is a great spot to attack this team if I'm not going to have David Johnson in the lineup. So I'm going to come back to that because I think that might be a good place to go. Can I get MVS with him? If I go MVS... Okay, so I can do that. Just wanted to see because I love MVS, guys. He's averaging almost 30 yards a catch over the last 3 games. And it was just announced that Geronimo Allison has been placed on IR. So this is his team, guys. He's their deep threat. He's their number 2 on the outside. I think that he's past Jimmy Graham in targets, past Randall Cobb. I love MVS. And I think, like I said, Xavier Howard's a stud. I think Green Bay wins this game by a pretty good margin. So MVS is a great pivot for me this week. Around there, I love Deshaun Jackson too. Where's Deshaun Jackson at 49? Guys, he is the ultimate hit or miss, right? In the last 4 games, 8 targets, 9 targets, or 4 targets, 4 targets. You don't know exactly what you're going to get, but at 4,900, someone that has 16.5 points a game and 5 touchdowns in a game where I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick can have a really good one. I like Deshaun Jackson's upside here, guys, if that's what you're looking for, depending on where you're at in your lineup. The one other guy that I can really see being eligible for my lineup this week is Maurice Harris of the Redskins. He's filling in at the slot for Jamison Crowder, and he's playing against the Bucs, right? And they're the number 1 team in the league when it comes to attacking with the slot receiver. He's coming off a monster week, too. Even if he didn't have this week, I probably would have thought about him just because he's a slot receiver against his team. But now he's coming off a game where he saw 12 targets, catching 10 of them for 124. At 3,900, it's very interesting what you can do if you plug him in over a guy like Larry Fitzgerald or MVS. So let's see if I put Maurice Harrison. Then I can get all the way up to 6,700, which is, a Rams receiver. Not really what I want to do. I could either go Fitz and MVS instead of Mo Harris in one of them and then upgrade somewhere else. But let me see what I can do. Say I put MVS here, right? Can I do what I thought I could? Yes, sir. So this is what we can do, guys. One option is to do Harris and MVS, and then we can move up to Patrick Mahomes, which is always something good to do. So this line was pretty solid here, guys. Patrick Mahomes, Mark Ingram, Kareem Hunt, Melvin Gordon, Josh Gordon, Maurice Harris, MVS, Eric Ebron, and the Rams. But if we didn't want to do that, we could go back to Andrew Luck, right? And then just go, who do we like at 5,600? Really only Larry Fitz at 54. So we're going to save 200. But that's the other thing we can do. Andrew Luck, Mark Ingram, Kareem Hunt, Josh, Fitzy, MVS, Ebron, MG3, and the Rams. Looking at that again, I think I like that other lineup a little bit better. Let's go with Patty Mahomes and my boy Maurice Harris for our first look lineup. That's what we got, guys. And I think that's a damn good lineup for cash. Patrick Mahomes can get you that 30 points. Mark Ingram, I think, is going to have a big week. Kareem Hunt is a stud in a great matchup at home. Melvin Gordon, stud in a great matchup. Josh Gordon, stud in a great matchup. Maurice Harris, we're playing that slot versus Tampa Bay. MVS, we're trying to hit that home run, which I could go down to Deshaun Jackson, which is depending on who you guys like for the deep play. Eric Ebron, give me a touchdown, and Rams defense. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to just check out the article too, because it has more in depth for each player. I have a little bit more players that I like at each position. I talked about Marlon Mack. I talked about, how I think Duke Johnson is going to get 6 catches for 58 yards. And I put together a whole lineup at the bottom of Andrew Luck, Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Josh Gordon, Fitzy, Mo Harris, Ebron, Ito, and the Jets. So, check out this lineup. It's going to be in the this article is going to be in the link below. And that's it, guys. If you made it this far, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. I'm putting out 4 videos a week for you. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Tell me if you like this lineup. Tell me who you're going to be using this week. And let's do it, guys. Let's win some money this week.